Good morning, grade 4 students. How are you? I hope you are fine. This is our English lecture number 7, week 9. So what are we going to cover in this lecture? First, in this lecture, we will cover the following skills. Phonics, long E with E, only letter E, or EA, double E, E, then consonant, then final E, IE, EY, and final Y. And these you can find them in the phonics practice book, pages 13 to 18. The vocabulary words for this lesson are 8, but we will cover only 4 of them. We have the word alter, collapse, crisis, destruction, hazard, severe, substantial, and unpredictable. Our lesson will be split into 2 parts. The lesson is A World of Change, pages 50 to 53, and the genre is expository. Now, as I said, that our lesson will be split into 2 halves. One part will be covered this week and the other part will be covered next week. So let's start first with our phonics. The phonics lesson, I have long E. Long E sound E, E. So sometimes long E, we say the short sound of long E, which is as in egg, but some other times we have to say the name of the letter, and this is where we call it long E sound. So sometimes it stands alone, only letter E, but some other times it needs another letter. So here are, as you can see here in this table, I have first letter E, and then EA, and then double E, E, consonant E, IE, EY, and Y. I'm going to show you what do I mean. In the first column, you have only letter E, as in evening, evening. Second one is zebra, zebra. In the second column, I have EA, as in breathe, breathe. Can you hear the long E sound in the middle of breathe? Under breathe, I have league, L-E, league. And under that, I have squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. And then the last one with E and A, I have the word healer, healer, healer. Now with the group double E, I have sleek, indeed, wreath, deed, speech, and wheeze. In the fourth column, I have E, final E, concrete, and scheme. You can see at the end there are 3 letters, E, consonant, and then final E. Then I have column number 5 with IE. I have the word belief, belief, and the word chief. So you can see here the letters I and E, they are making the long sound E. Column number 6, I have EY, such as honey, honey, E and Y. Do you hear the E sound at the end of the word honey? And the second one is the word donkey, donkey. I'm also pronouncing the long E sound. The last one is the final Y, the letter Y at the end. It sometimes it makes the long E sound, as in family, family. Or the last one is weary or wary, okay? It depends on the way we pronounce it. American, we say weary, weary. So it has the long E sound at the end of the word. So these are the spelling words that we need to practice, and we should practice writing them by heart. Now we're going to get to know the meaning of these spelling words. So the first word is the word zebra. What is a zebra? As you can see, a zebra is an animal. It looks like a donkey. So from the picture, we can tell that a zebra is a stripped animal that looks like a horse, for example. The second one is the word evening. Now, evening is, let's say, the opposite of morning, for example. So I have morning and I have evening. Next, I have breathe. Breathe. So what do we mean by breathe? Breathe is when you take in oxygen and take out carbon dioxide, for example. The second word is the word league. League is like a group of teams. They join together to form a league. Okay, now here I have the word squeaky and healer. Now, as you can see in this group of words, the letters E and A are making the long E sound, as in what we said, as in squeaky, squeaky. Do you see this squeaky duck? It makes a squeaking sound, just like the sound of a mouse, for example. And the second one is healer. A healer is someone who heals people, just like a doctor, for example. Next, I have the words sleek and indeed. As you can see in these words, sleek, the double E, I have the double E letters are making the long E sound. Sleek means shiny, bright and bright. It's not dull, it is bright and shiny. And the next word is the word indeed. Indeed. Indeed means actually. So as you can see here, the long E sound is made using the two letters double E, E and E. Now we are still in the double E team. I have the word reef. So reef is like the coral reef underwater. Okay, this is a picture of a reef. It's like a place for animals where they can, hide and play and eat, probably. The second word is the word deed. A deed is like a contract. It's like a promise. It's like an action, an act. Okay, this is the word deed. It has many uses and has many synonyms. It depends on the sentence. Next, I have the words speech and wheeze. So speech is what we speak. Speech and speak. So this one should be easy. So speech has double E, and this is what makes the long E sound. The second word is the word wheeze. When you wheeze, it means you are breathing in a hard way, okay? Almost like coughing. You cannot breathe right. So we say wheeze. Now also wheeze has double E, that's why we have the long E sound. Now here I have the word concrete. Concrete is a cement mixture. It's what goes inside this yellow machine, okay, and they mix them, it becomes concrete. The second word is the word scheme. A scheme is a part of a bigger plan. So you can say that a scheme is a plan, but it's also a part of a plan. Scheme. Now concrete and scheme, they have the E, then consonant, then final E or magic E at the end. Now I have the word belief. A belief is the way you think, okay? It's what you believe in. That's a belief. For example, a belief that the earth was flat long time ago. Everyone believed that. So this is what they used to think. So a belief is the way of thinking. And the second one is the word chief. A chief is like the leader or the boss of a group. So as you can see here in both words, belief and chief, I have the letters I and E. They are giving me or making the long E sound. Now I have the last one, the group with EY. It's not the last one, it's before the last. I have the words honey and donkey. Honey. Can you hear the long E sound that I'm making with the word honey? I use E and Y at the end to give me the long E sound. And the second word is the word donkey. And now I have the last group of words with the Y, with the final Y. It's usually at the end, okay? Such as family, family. Do you hear the E sound in family? And the other word, the last word, is the word weary, means tired, or weary, okay? It depends. American we say weary, and British we say weary. Means very exhausted or tired and stuff like that. So these are the phonics. This is our phonics lesson. So what do I want you to do? I want you to try your best and practice writing these words by heart. And now we'll move on to solving some exercises related to our phonics lesson. So now we are going to practice our spelling list with long E sound. Let's start reading. An analogy is a statement that compares sets of words. Write the spelling word that best completes each analogy below. So what are we going to read? For example, number 1, happy is to glad as tired is to what? Now before I give you the answer, I will explain to you what analogy means. Happy and glad both have the same meaning. So now here in this analogy I have to find also the meaning of tired. So which word here means tired? It's the word weary. Number 2, colors are to rainbow as teams are to what? So a rainbow is made of colors. So which word here means it's made of teams? Which word made of teams? Which word here goes with the word teams? Just the same way as colors goes with rainbow. So here I have the word. Okay, first I'm going to cross out weary. And the second word is league. Number 3, song is to tune as a plan is to what? So a tune is part of a song. So which one here is a part of a plan? I can say that the word scheme. It also means plan, or it's a part of a plan. Number 4, sun is to moon. So here sun and moon, these are opposites. It's like, what's the opposite of sun? Moon. As morning is to what? Which one here is the opposite of morning? You guessed it right. This one is easy. It's the word evening. Number 5, teacher is to instructor. So a teacher and instructor, they both have the same meaning. So which word here means leader? A leader is a chief. That's correct. Number 6, early is to late. So as you can see here, early is the opposite of late. As low pitched is to what? Which one here means high pitched? Because I want the opposite of low pitched. It is high pitched. Which word here means high pitched? It's the squeaking sound. So squeaky is the high pitched word. That completes the analogy. Number 7, promise is to vow. I promise means I vow. As act is to what? So here it's like I am looking for the same meaning. So here an act is a deed. Yes, that's correct. Number 8, carpenter is to builder. As doctor is to what? So here we can think of a carpenter and a builder. So what does the carpenter do? It builds, right? It builds houses or ships or stuff. So what does the doctor do? The doctor is a healer. The doctor heals people. Number 9, dog is to wolf. A dog and wolf, these are opposites. So which one here is the opposite of the horse? This one is also easy. It is donkey. And the last one, warm is to cool. So here I have opposites, as dull is to sleek. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the vocabulary words. As I told you, there are 8 vocab words in this lesson, but we're going only to cover 4 of them. These are the words, the circled ones: alter, collapse, hazard, and substantial. What do these words mean? Let's find out. So try to look at these words, take a look at these words, and maybe you may remember the meaning of some of them. This will be a good thing for you, just to like kind of self-evaluation to see how good you are in English. We will move on now to their meanings. Okay, so here I have the word alter. Alter. To alter means to make different or change. For example, the ocean waves slowly alter the shoreline by carving away the rocks. Now, this picture is very important for you to understand the word alter, and it's also a good example for our lesson as well. Okay, when I read the lesson, you will find the relation. As you can see here, do you see the rocks in this picture? They were not like this. They were probably smooth rocks and maybe same level, same height. And they were one rock. Now, if you look at them, they are cracked, broken. Some of them probably fell into under the ocean, under the water in the ocean. Okay, what made this rock to change? It's because of the waves. The waves, okay, because the waves, they hit these rocks so hard, okay, and that's what make them change. Just you can imagine a cube of ice, and then you're pouring water on that ice. What will happen to the cube of ice? It will start melting. So you can imagine the same picture here. So here, what we say, we are using the word alter. So alter here means to change or make different. So as for an example, the ocean waves slowly alter. Slowly is very important. It means that in order for this change to happen or to be noticed, it needs a long time. Next word in our list is the word collapse. Collapse. As you can see here, the letters of the word collapse are what? Falling down. You see that? And in the picture, you can see a bridge, and that bridge collapsed. It means it fell down. To collapse means to fall down or cave in. For example, flood waters caused the bridge to collapse. So why did this bridge fall? Because of flood waters. Moving on, now we are moving on to word number 3. I have the word hazard. Hazard. What does the word hazard mean? A hazard is something that can cause harm or injury. So it is something, okay? It's something. So it's like it's an event. For example, fire can cause a hazard. A fire means it's dangerous. Also, we can use the word danger when we talk about the word hazard. For example, the sentence, the water was a hazard to people driving on the street. So it means it was something that causes them to stop. And as you can see, that Jeep over there, it's changing its way, and all the cars that were trying to pass through this road, they changed their way. So a hazard is something that can cause harm or injury. For example, here the water was a hazard to people driving on the street. We can also say, for example, the power lines, the falling power lines can be a hazard to people passing by. Next, we will move on to the last word. It's an easy word, substantial. Substantial means great amount or size. It's another meaning for large or big or enormous. We got a substantial amount of snow last night. So I can use the word substantial if I'm talking about amount or size. Okay, for example, I can say this watermelon or this pumpkin is substantial. It means it's very big in size. Okay, so now we will move on to practicing these vocabulary words and use them in sentences and in definitions as well. Now we're going to practice the vocabulary words. I have the word alter, collapse, hazard, substantial. So here I have a definition and a sentence. Let's see the definition. Something that is a source of danger is a what? Which one here of these words, which one of these words means something that is a source of danger? Is it alter, collapse, hazard, or substantial? Alter, we said it means to change. Collapse, it's like to damage. Hazard means crisis or danger. Substantial means large. So now that I recall the meanings of these words, I can know or I can tell that the definition goes to the word hazard. The sentence, the fallen power lines were a possible hazard. The fallen power lines were a possible hazard. Second one, I have a definition, something of great amount or size or strength. What do we call it? This one is substantial, correct. For example, the blizzard dropped a what amount of snow in our area? It dropped a substantial amount of snow in our area. Next, I have to make different or to change is to what? To something. It is the word alter, correct. For example, both fast and slow processes, what do they do to the Earth's crust? Fast and slow processes alter the Earth's crust. Last one, to fall down or break means to collapse. For example, a strong and flexible building should not collapse during an earthquake. Now it's time to watch our weekly video. The title of the video is Take Action.
Take action. How do people respond to natural disasters? A natural disaster can strike at any time. Being prepared and knowing how to respond can help keep communities safe. When a forest fire breaks out, firefighters have to respond quickly to get it under control. They work together to keep the fire from spreading to people's homes. Firefighters are first responders, brave people who arrive first on the scene to assess and control further damage. All kinds of natural disasters need first responders. Blizzards, tornadoes, floods, and earthquakes. First responders need to know about the dangers they might face when responding to a natural disaster. Training and experience help them to be prepared for any surprises nature might bring.
Okay, so now that we have covered the phonics, we have covered the vocabulary and practiced them, we watched our warm-up video. Let's move on to our lesson. Our lesson is A World of Change, and the genre of this lesson is expository. We will talk about the genre, okay? For example, here, What do we mean by the genre expository? An expository genre, first, it explains facts about topics, includes text features like diagrams and headings. So it's very important to know that expository genre style or text, they have facts. They tend to be scientific, okay? So it's not like the narrative or the fiction or the fantasy stories. They give you facts. And in order to make things clear, they usually have text features. What are these text features? Such as diagrams and headings. A diagram is like a picture. It shows, diagrams show the parts of something or how a process works. As you can see, this is a diagram of a volcano. It's like the inside of the volcano. And the headings, they tell you, the heading tell what section of text is mostly about. The heading is like the main idea or the title. Let's say the heading is the title of the paragraph or the text that we are going to read next. So did I make you excited about the lesson? I hope so. Let's start reading. Okay. Earth may seem as if it is a large rock that never changes. Actually, our planet is in a constant state of change. Natural changes take place every day. These activities alter the surface of Earth. Some of these changes take place slowly over many years. Others happen in just minutes. Whether they are slow or fast, both kinds of changes have a great effect on our planet. So here, as we read, that there are many changes happening in our planet, things that we can see instantly, just like if we faced a tsunami, God forbidden, then we can see the changes that happen. Or if it happens slowly through natural processes that we're going to talk about. So we have two kinds of changes. It can be slowly or it can be fast. So slow changes and fast changes. These are the changes that we're going to cover in this lesson. But in this part, we will only talk about the changes that alter the surface of Earth slowly. So here we have a question. After we read the paragraph, it's very important that we ask some questions to see if we understand what we read. What kind of activities change the surface of Earth? What kind of activities? What are these activities? So it's very important that we say that these are natural activities change the Earth's surface every day. Next. Slow and steady. This is the heading that we talked about. Slow and steady. So here we're going to talk. This is like the title of this section of the lesson. Okay, slow and steady. Some of Earth's biggest changes cannot be seen, as I told you before. That is because they are happening very slowly. What are these changes? What are these natural activities? Weathering. Now, weathering is not related to weather. It's something else, okay? It's a process called weathering. Second word is erosion and deposition. Are three natural processes that change the surface of the world. They do it 1 grain of sand at a time. I'm going to explain to you quickly and then we will move on to detailed explanation, okay? So here they say that I have 3 natural processes: weathering, erosion, deposition. Now these 3 processes, they actually work together as a team in order to change the surface of Earth. Weathering, it's a quick definition, okay? So weathering is like breaking down the rocks into smaller pieces and even into sand. They can become sand. That's why they said at the end, they do it 1 grain of sand at a time. The rock is made of sand, it's sand. So weathering, these are when natural forces break down the rock into smaller pieces that are like the size of a sand. Erosion is when these pieces of sand or small rocks are carried away or moved away. Okay, this is erosion. Deposition is when these sand particles and these pieces of rocks are deposited. It means they are moved to or land in another location. So weathering means breaking down the rocks into smaller parts. Erosion is moving these particles into another location. Deposition is where these particles land or deposited or stop. So now we're going to some more detailed explanation. As you can see in this picture, weathering occurs when rain, snow, sun, and wind break down rocks into smaller pieces. These tiny pieces of rock turn into soil, but they are not carried away from the landform. So here we are talking about weathering particularly. So they are telling us what is weathering. When we have rain, you know, when rain falls, it falls heavily. So there's a big pressure that is applied on a rock. And then when it snows, for example, the snow can make the rock weak. And plus, when the rain goes inside the rock, inside the cracks of a rock, and then it becomes too cold, what happens to the water inside the rock? It will freeze. When the water freezes, it needs more space, so it expands. We say it expands. When it expands, it causes the rock to split or to crack. With time, this crack will get bigger and bigger until the big rock will split into two halves. We also have the sun and the wind. Also the wind, if it's too powerful, it can break down the rocks into smaller pieces. These tiny pieces of rock, they will turn into soil, so they will become small particles, more like sand-like particles. Okay, but they will stay in their place. How are they going to be carried away? By another natural force, which is erosion. By another natural activity, sorry. Now, so this one is erosion. Erosion occurs when weathered means the pieces that are broken pieces of rock are carried away by a natural force such as a river. This causes landforms on Earth to get smaller. Landforms like mountains, they will get smaller. They may even completely collapse over time. Just like if you have a big boulder, for example, a big boulder, when it cracks, it will collapse over time. The Grand Canyon is an example of the effect of erosion. It has carved over thousands of years by the Colorado River. Now, the last thing we have is the deposition. After the process of erosion, dirt and rocks are then dropped in a new location. This process is called deposition. Over time, a large collection of deposits may occur in one place. Deposition by water can build up a beach. Deposition by wind can create a substantial landform, such as a sand dune. A sand dune is a hill, sand near an ocean or in a desert that is formed by the wind. So here in the last part of our section, which is slow and steady, we are talking about deposition, and here they are telling us that we have deposition by water can build up a beach. So whatever the water carries and deposits in the new location, this can form a beach. Deposition by wind, they can form substantial landforms such as sand dune, as you can see in this picture. This usually happens in the desert, where wind carries all these sand particles and then deposit them in another location, and this is how sand dunes are formed. So this is our lesson. This is our first part of the lesson. I hope you understand it. I have a nice video for you. It's a long video, but it's really nice. I advise you to watch it till the end. So now we're going to watch our video about weathering, erosion, and deposition.
Hey, Izzy, what's the cooler for?
Hey, Zoe, I'm just icing down some drinks, you know? For absolutely no one, Zoe, what are you doing?
I stepped on a crack in the sidewalk and hurt my ankle.
You tripped on a crack? You better call your mom to make sure she's okay.
She's fine, Izzy. Why are there so many cracks in the sidewalk anyway?
Hey guys, remind me not to drink anything from that cooler.
Zoe hurt her ankle from a crack in the sidewalk, and she's using the cooler to ice it down.
Sorry to hear that, Zoe. If it doesn't get better soon, we should take you to see someone.
Dr. Jeff, do you know why there's so many cracks in the sidewalk? They're everywhere.
Actually, it's from a natural process called weathering.
So weather causes it?
Kind of. Let's dive in. I'm Dr. Jeff Innicker, and today we'll explore the science of weathering and erosion. We'll look at how the Earth's surface gets broken down through weathering, how those pieces get moved through erosion, and how the pieces end up somewhere else through a process called deposition. With Dr. Jeff. Welcome to Labracazam, where we make science make sense.
Dr. Jeff, you said that the cracks in the sidewalk were caused by weathering. What is that?
Weathering is when the Earth's surface is broken down into smaller pieces. Then, those pieces are moved in a process called erosion and deposited somewhere else.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So you're saying that the cracks in the sidewalk are caused by weather breaking it up?
Well, weathering is the term we use to describe the process. But there are many things besides weather that break up the Earth's surface.
But how could you break solid rock?
Great question, Zoe. Let's break it down. Let's look at some models of how weathering works. Since we'll be working with powerful tools, we're wearing our goggles and our gloves. Don't try this at home. For this part, I'm going to need a sock? Wait, what? Bert, that's not what I asked for. Oops, that was my favorite pair.
Dr. Jeff, I'm sure you have what you need in your lab coat.
You're probably right. A lock? A clock? A brock? Ah, here it is. A rock. Now, what's something that could easily be carried by wind?
Maybe sand?
That's right. Wind can throw sand and dust against rock. To show you what that can do to a rock over time, I'm going to use this sand blaster. This will create the effect of powerful wind with tiny pieces of sand in it. But as you can see, this is about to get very messy, so we got to go outside.
Whoa, the sand and wind work together to cut a hole in the rock.
And it happened really quickly.
Sometimes weathering happens fast, especially to softer substances like soil. But it usually happens very slowly, over hundreds, thousands or even millions of years. Can you guys think of anything else in nature that could break down a hard surface like this?
Well, it rained yesterday. Does water cause weathering?
It sure does. Water is actually one of the most common causes of weathering.
We use water all the time, and it seems pretty harmless. How powerful could it actually be against a rock?
Let's find out using this water blaster machine. It uses just a stream of water to cut through hard objects.
No way this'll work. I've used a water gun before. Needless to say, I've never split anyone in half.
Well, when water has enough pressure, let's just see. Back outside we go.
Now that's what I call a watermark.
To do this, we used a high-pressure water stream. But even water flowing slowly over long time periods can shape rocks.
It can also make rocks smooth.
Or even create entire canyons.
Besides the weathering that happens from flowing water, it also happens from water in a different form, ice. We'll demonstrate that using this metal pipe. Izzy, could you please fill this pipe completely full with water by submerging it?
You got it.
Perfect. This pipe is completely filled with water. Now, we're gonna tighten it up. Next, we're gonna put it into liquid nitrogen. Here you go, Zoe. We'll also need this safety shield. Go for it.
I remember liquid nitrogen from another demonstration. It's extremely cold and causes things to freeze really quickly.
Oh, that was awesome! You were right about the liquid nitrogen, Zoe. It causes the water inside to freeze. Then that water expands, causing the pipe to crack.
I've heard of this happening in people's houses during the winter.
I can see how this would affect rocks. When water gets into the crack and freezes, it expands, causing the crack to either get bigger or even the rock to break.
Labracazam. The types of weathering we've demonstrated here are the ones we can do in the lab, but there are other ways too. Like when plant roots grow into cracks, it causes rocks to split.
Kind of like a wedge being driven into something.
Also, gravity can take a toll on things over time, as seen in the landslide. So now that we know how things are broken apart, where do the tiny pieces of Earth's surface go? I know they didn't just disappear.
Great question, Izzy. Weathering breaks the Earth's surface down into smaller pieces, and then erosion moves those pieces until they're deposited somewhere else. I can show you wind erosion using this compressed air to simulate the wind. Flowing water also moves pieces of the Earth's surface.
So this water flow causes erosion because it's moving the small pieces.
Yes, and it's depositing the pieces over here where the water flow ends.
Glaciers can also move pieces of the Earth's surface with them as they slide.
That happened fast, but in real life, glaciers are huge and move very slowly, like this one in Norway.
It seems like the same forces of nature that break rocks apart, like wind, water, and ice, also move them.
Labracazam. Weathering, erosion, and deposition work together. Weathering, it breaks it down.
Erosion, it's moved.
Deposition, it ends up somewhere else.
Let's look at some natural landforms and see if we can figure out how the material is broken apart, moved, and deposited somewhere else.
The Grand Canyon. It was carved by the flow of the Colorado River over millions of years.
Mushroom rocks. These are created by wind erosion. The wind carries sand close to the ground, carving the bottom more than the top.
I know this place, it's Split Apple Rock, New Zealand. It was created by water freezing into ice, the same thing that caused our pipe to crack.
You might not realize it, but you see effects of weathering and erosion every day. Let's check it out with some real-world science.
So now that you have watched the video, this is the last paragraph that we're going to read. Although erosion is a slow process, it still creates problems for people. Some types of erosion are dangerous. They can be seen as a hazard to communities. To help protect against beach erosion, for example, we're talking about beach erosion. People build structures that block ocean waves from the shore. They may also use heavy rocks to keep the land from eroding. Others grow plants along the shore. The roots of the plants help hold the soil and make it less likely to erode. Unfortunately, people cannot protect the land when fast natural processes occur. So as you can see here, there's a problem with erosion, but people cannot stop it because this is natural thing that happens. They cannot stop it, but they can protect against it. Erosion can be harmful because sometimes when people are, for example, like the water flood, when the water flood occurs, it will take parts of their land. It may cover their crops, for example. So what are they trying to do? They are trying to block this water, for example, from flooding. So they are building, they are dropping heavy rocks. The heavy rocks can stop the water from flooding. It's like they are building a wall or something. And some other times they can also plant trees or grow plants because the roots will stabilize the soil, and therefore they can protect against erosion. How do people respond to help protect against erosion? The answer is they build the structures, use heavy rocks, and grow plants. This is the end of our lecture. Thank you a lot for watching, and for any question, please take a note and join me during our Zoom tomorrow.